Hey everybody, this is Retro Challenge Gamer, and we're back with more tier rankings for Super Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with all 96 tracks. We got 16 down, 80 more to go. This is the current tier list as of right now, 3 videos in. I'm not going to do the disclaimer anymore that I did the previous video, because if you're already here 3 videos in, I think you know what you're in for this particular ride. So moving on, as you can see, I have updated the list and the numbers on the right side to what it looks like in the actual game and how they're set up. So it's not set up as Double Dash, Super Circuit, or anything. It's more based on system and everything. So those are the numbers of the tracks we have left. And I made a mistake on the original. The originals are specifically the ones that they made brand new for the booster pass stuff. The originals that came with the base game were part of the original 25 up top in the Kart 8 category. So now that I've got all those corrections out of the way, we're going to move onward into our game. Alright, so which cup? Mrs. Retro Challenge Gamer here is here with me. Which cup shall we rank next? Anything? The banana. Okay, we're going to do the banana next, alright? I'm going to start with Dry Desert, which... Oh, hey, I actually got a good time on this one. Look at that. So we're going to move right into watching me do the time trial. So, Dry Desert is kind of a plain track in terms of a desert track. I mean, I feel like there could have they could have had more gimmicks, if you will. I mean, it looks fine as a track. I think it's probably the least interesting track to look at in the base game. I mean, yeah, you got some pokies here and some pillars falling over for some boosts you can trick jump off of and things like that. But for the most part, there's really not much in the first part of the track. Then you got this big quicksand. You can either dash through it if you got some items, or you can go around to get some coins or something. But other than that, you don't even go inside a pyramid or anything. There's no indoor sections. Then you get to an oasis. This is like the one stark difference compared to the rest of the track. Everything else is just desert. And it's not very interesting desert either. Like, wow, that was a terrible shortcut I just did. But yeah, that's it. That's the whole track. It's basically just a sandy road and an oasis. And maybe a quicksand whirlpool. That's it. There's nothing really of note. I'm not even sure if I want to call this an average track either. Well, you know what? That actually brings to mind. You were asking me earlier in an earlier video which tracks I would recommend for a beginner and everything, and honestly, this would probably be one of them. This would probably be one of... yeah, we did definitely do a better boost on that shortcut there, so that was very much nice. The pokies just aren't really much of a threat, and I don't know why you would take the risk going in between them when they bend, like curl over like that, and a coin is produced in the middle of them for that brief moment of time. I don't know why you would take a risk for that. There's just so many other opportunities to get coins. Yeah, we'll trick jump off here. But I do know if something's going to go wrong in a Grand Prix, it's going to go wrong right here in the Oasis right before the final turn. You're either going to get hit by some blue shell or red shell or lightning bolt, or you're going to make that turn because you don't have an item, and everyone else that do have items go surging out in front of you and take your first place slot. So if something's going to go wrong, it's at the very end at the Oasis, the most interesting part of the entire track. So we're going to move into... There we go. Back to the rankings. Now, where is Dry Desert? There it is. I don't even want to say it's average. Like, I don't really have much fun playing on it. It's just... It's a very average track, all said and done. Which is unfortunate, because this is what, a GameCube track? So GCN, so it's the second 6. So now we're down to 5. Yeah, there's just nothing going for it. It's just very plain and boring. There's even better looking tracks out there. There's nothing novel about it. and I don't really have fun playing it every time I go on it. It's just not a fun, interesting desert track, and I don't really have much more to say. So we're going to move on to the next one, Donut Plains 3. I didn't really do so hot on this one. I was off by a couple seconds. So let's see how I did. As before, you see my tag, RC Gaming. You can download the ghosts and go trounce them if you want. Go play against me, if you will, on my best attempt at these 2 years ago. So, of the SNES tracks, which, by the way, I actually do need to update the number here. There we go. We have one more SNES track left. This is probably the prettiest looking one so far. This one doesn't make too many changes, although they do add an underwater section here, which is really nice, which is great for shortcuts, as you can see. But other than that, they keep it pretty true and faithful to the source material, the Super Nintendo. They don't do any crazy anti-grav or new sections or anything like that, like they did, I think, with Sherbert Land, I guess, where they added like an underwater section. So it's pretty much plain, but it's pretty. They actually made it look better than, say, Super Mario Circuit 3, which they really have baked that one. And that was a terrible shortcut. But yeah, in terms of SNES tracks, you can't go wrong with this one. They did an adequate job, and I do like the extra water on the field here, which gives it sort of like a nice little reflective surface and a little bit more of a difference of what is it? Ooh, I did terrible. How did I ever accept this particular time trial? I guess I had lesser standards back then. Because now, doing the time trials, I would not accept that. I'd restart the whole thing. But yeah, see how it's dry here, but it's going to be wet later on? It also alters your, I think, your grip and your handling, how loose the turns are and everything. So on the last part of the track, that does add a little bit of a dynamicism to the last part, where everybody's jockeying for their position to race across the finish line first. So yeah, all said and done, this was a decent track. So getting back to here, the rankings. I gotta find it. Hold on. There it is. I don't really want to say it's average, because I do mind playing on it, you know? I do mind playing on it. So I have to put it in the kind of bad. I wouldn't really pick it on my own, but it's definitely better than Dry Desert by far. Like if there's like a rack and stack, Donut Plains is up here and Dry Desert is like way down here, you know, off the chart. Like the difference is staggering. So there's probably going to be a bunch of, if I put more in this category, there's going to be a bunch more between these two for sure. So yeah, but yeah, I would not pick Donut Plains on my own. It's just kind of a boring track. I mean, it's pretty, best one so far of the Super Nintendo ports, but just not very exciting. Okay, now we move on to the next race in the Banana Cup, the Royal Raceway, which I did beat Peach, or Nintendo Skip. So we're going to view the Ghost. So which track was this one? Royal Raceway. This was N64. So as you can see in the lower right with the track layout, it's nothing crazy. It's almost like a circuit track, like Mario Circuit or something like that, but it's Peach's Royal Raceway. But it's very pretty. It's got a nice environment, so that actually sets it apart from, you know, a standard Mario Circuit track, especially Mario Circuit 3. This is by far the better one of the two if we had to choose. I mean, come on, you even got elevation. You got a hill here, and then a glide jump with nice, pretty balloons and stuff, and Peach's castle in the background. So in terms of just look of it, it's nice. It looks like a nice springtime race, you know, just outside her castle and everything. So I really like the look. Oh, I didn't even notice those before. The little swan boats in the lake. But yeah, in terms of just overall gimmicks, there's really nothing. Maybe some piranha plants on the side, but in novelty, it's like a circuit track. That's really all I can say about it. But is it fun? I'd say if you're going up on a Grand Prix with AI opponents, it's alright. It's not the best track. However, if you're going against live opponents online and you're playing multiplayer with other people, this track can get pretty fun, especially towards the end here with these little light S-turns towards the finish line. Like, chaos ensues in that section almost all the time. And then, of course, right after the finish line here, the beginning parts of each track, in this turn right here, there's a lot of jockeying for position right here that I've noticed as well. And then it's pretty much clear sailing up until the final S-turns right before the end of the track. So when you're playing with other people who know what they're doing too, it's like a fun chaos. And of course, you know, being able to bump people off into the lake and everything as they're trying to glide down, that's always fun. And then of course the one shortcut that I actually want to take. I mean, there's multiple ways you can gain ground here if you lose positions due to an errant red shell or whatnot. So that's nice. I like the fact that you can recover in this track where some of the other tracks you can't. So that back to here, Royal Raceway. Yeah, it's definitely in the average track. I wouldn't call it fun to play, but I don't mind it. But where to put it? I'd say it's better than Yoshi's Island, but it's a hard sell between Sherbert Land and Royal Raceway. I don't think it's funner than Warrior's Gold Mine. Oh, it's almost a tie, really. It's funner with people. It's funner with more people. So we'll do this. We'll do that, yeah. That seems right to me. So, heading back to the game. DK Jungle. So far, this entire cup, the Banana Cup, has been pretty mediocre for the most part. But that's about to change with this 3DS track. The DK Jungle, which I totally did not get good time on. So, but, oh, no, I do not want to race against myself, thank you very much. I want to watch myself. I'm not in it to make commentary while I'm focusing on the race. So what was it, a 3DS? So 6, 5 left. So this track pretty much makes up for the other 3 tracks by a landslide. So you start off in the jungle, pretty, you know, uneventful, and then boom, you're off into a lake, a beautiful lake falls area with tiki drum enemies from Donkey Kong Returns. Across a bridge, back into another, now more tighter, crazier. Ooh, oh, that was a weird shortcut I took. And then the Banana Temple. Some crazy anti-grav tricks, trick jumps, and then an odd, yeah, U-turn at an angle slant, and then a final glide jump with these cool pillars also from Donkey Kong Returns, and then 2 routes here. The normal route, that's just the easier one to take, and then a shortcut route, which does require a little bit of tight timing, but you can do it. And that's the track. Like, there's so much going on in this track that if you, like, lose for a second, you could, or slip up for a second, you could lose, like, 4 to 5 positions easily. But the best thing about this track is that there's so many chances and shortcuts to use that it really doesn't matter, at least until the final track. Then you can gain back, like, you can use that shortcut if you have a mushroom. You can just go straight in front of the pack. Or right here, there's a lot of jockeying position, and you can do goods on the tricks and the turbo boosts here, and then shoot past people. And then at the very end, at that small little tiny shortcut where you could, like, pass by maybe one person at the very tail end of the track. So there's so many cool opportunities and choices for strategy and tactics in this track. And the fact that it's awesomely, I wouldn't say it's difficult, but it's challenging. It's challenging to get through. Like right here, trying to get through all the tiki drums without hitting them and not hitting your fellow players and all the items that they have. And then this crazy S-turn, if you don't do the shortcut that I'm doing, you have a very tight hairpin turn to get into the straightaway, straight to the Banana Temple. So yeah, this track is just phenomenal. And just having a glider section at the very end to kind of round out the whole experience. And then a water section if you really want to drop down into it for some reason. Who does that? I don't know anybody who does that. Most people just glide to the end. So, so back to our rankings. DK Jungle. It is one of the best, y'all. It really is. I'd put it above Music Park or Melody Motorway. I don't know if I have as much fun as I do Rock Mountain or Alpine Way. That's a hard toss-up right there, and I'm very undecided on what I should do here because they're both fun. They're both fun. I almost want to say they're a tie, but I'm gonna give it to DK Jungle because it looks prettier, and I think that because I did say I would judge some of these tracks based on looks. That's probably the deciding factor for me. It looks prettier, and it has a lot more going for it. So we're gonna stick with that, okay? Heading back to the game. DLC tracks. So my son, he's off recording his own YouTube stuff. He's got his own channel now. He asked me to do the Lucky Cat Bell Cup next. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to start with Tokyo Blur. And I was off by a couple seconds on this one. And this is a Mario Kart Tour track. It's one of the first ones that were released in the first wave. There we go. Now, this one, I will have to say, I actually like it. And not for the reasons you think. Like, in terms of just, like, gimmicks and novelty, there's really not a lot here. There's, like, maybe a couple thwomps and things like that. But it's basically just going around and riding around roads and stuff in, like, a Japanese-like setting, okay? That's really all it is. There's not much else to this track. However, there's a nice little boost here, a nice little shortcut you can do. That's neat, you know. Most tour tracks sometimes don't have those. So having one here is, at least on 2 of the 3 laps, is good. I like it. But what really stands out about this compared to New York Minute is the layout. The layout is tight, it's fast, and it doesn't waste your time. This is a very, very quick track. You can get through it very quick, very fast, and on the 200cc Cup, with a lot of people, you know, trying to fight for that first position, this track can get really, really crazy, really, really fast. So I don't mind having a track that kind of loops in on itself, and we have a couple of the same roads that we take every now and then here and there, and instead of, like, you know, some of the other tracks that have multiple routes. This one is fine as is. I don't mind it. Now, this third lap can get a little boring as we go on the interstate, or is it interstate? No, that's like an American term. But on the freeway here, the Autobahn, the Autoway, motorway, this can get a little boring. But for the most part, it's a small, fun, tight track, and I like it. I really do. It does exactly what it's meant to do, and doesn't outstay its welcome. So where does that put it in the rankings? Okay, so I do not know. It is not the best. It is not the best. I don't even want to say it's average. Honestly, it probably goes at the bottom. It goes at the bottom of very good, past London Loop. London Loop was the stronger Mario Kart Tour track by far. And I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of tracks in between London Loop and Tokyo Blur, just to give you an idea of the range between London and Tokyo here. But I will say that was a fun track for me. I enjoyed it for what it was. A lot of people feel there's better tour tracks out there, but sometimes I just like a simple one. I don't want super complex or crazy gimmicks and, you know, pinballs flying everywhere, you know, hitting me when I least expect it, like in Luigi Pinball. Sometimes I just want a straight, flat track that winds in on around itself enough to be interesting, but not boring like a figure eight or one big circular loop, you know? So, Tokyo Blur fits the bill. Okay, moving on to the second one, Shroom Ridge. I beat the time by a lot. Nice. So I'll have to add my tally to that one. Let's watch and see how I did, how better I did against the ghost timer. I didn't catch which one was that the DS? I don't remember. Either way, Shroom Ridge is interesting in terms of locale. I don't think there's any other track like it where you're on a freeway or a motorway in the countryside along a cliff with, of course, other cars. This is like another variant of Toad's Turnpike, but better. In fact, I think there's another track that's even better at being a replacement Toad's Turnpike than this one. This one is kind of its own unique beast. But this is the part that I really love the most, like right here towards the end, when you're just kind of weaving in and out of traffic and everything along the cliff side. I mean, wow, look at that lake off in the distance there between the mountains. See, that would be great. If they didn't half-bake some of these graphics or change the graphical style compared to the original 48 base courses, this could be a really beautiful track. It's just unfortunate. You look at the textures and they're very plain. This was part of, I think, Wave 1, where a lot of people were wondering if they were just going to half-bake everything from that point onward. So there's so many ways this could be improved graphically. But the gimmicks, well, you know, cars to avoid. That could be pretty fun. This is actually funner than Toad's Turnpike in terms of avoiding cars, because they seem to be more in your face than they are there. There's less space to maneuver around them. And that, you don't have anti-grav walls to just skip them entirely on the inside, so there's that too. And you have plenty of opportunities for double and triple boosts around many of these turns, and it's got several shortcuts. There was actually one I didn't even point out earlier, but it's on the cliff side. Here's the primary one. This is the main shortcut that most world record holders tend to take, so of course I took it as well. But there's a shortcut coming around right there. You see that? You missed it, but right there, there's like a wind gust that's coming up from underneath. You can like fly off, hit the gust, and then trick off of it to the other side. That's like a small little tiny shortcut just at the very end if you want to beat past one or two people for that first place at the last second. You know, there's that for you. That's kind of neat. So Shroom Ridge. How do you think I rate this, given how I was talking about it, huh? You think I rate it pretty good? Honestly, I wouldn't say it's average. I think it's up in the very good category. I enjoy this a lot. And I dare say I think I enjoy it way more than Ice Ice Outpost. Ice Ice Outpost is fun, but I don't know, just dodging, weaving in and out of cars and everything on a track that's not crazy with the turns and the gimmicks and the randomness and things like that. I mean, this is the type of random with the cars that I like, because I can see them, I can predict where they're going to go next, and I can account for them and avoid them. It's perfect. I love this sort of track with these types of challenges and obstacles. So I think that's a good spot for Shroom Ridge. So yeah, we've got quite a few good tracks already in this ranking here. Not too many hot takes, I don't think, this time around, except maybe Tokyo Blur. I think that would have gone a couple people like, eh? You know, like, really? But other than that, not many hot takes. Okay, and what was this one? I need to update my count tallies, actually. That was DS. Okay. So that's 5 down here. Oh, the last 5. It's the last 5. So we're down to 4 now. And now we're on GBA. Oh. So this is a GBA track. So it's... Oh, I wasn't that far off from Pedro. Well, let's see how I did. This is a simple track. Now remember, Boo Lake, I think, was another GBA track, and they did phenomenal, like absolutely amazing job at porting that over. But since this was part of the first wave, this is what we got. At first it looks like we're going to get like another Cloud Top Cruise sort of vibe here. But all it is just a golden road in the middle of some clouds with some Paracoopa Troopas flying on the sidelines, and then a small little shortcut here through the roots, and a jump, and you're done. I mean, you can even see an airship off in the distance over there. I mean, why couldn't we have just gone on one of those? Like, for example, like right around here on this turn, instead of going over a bridge and a mushroom, we could have just run straight through an airship or something like right here, just to spruce up the track a little bit. Or even go up and around on an airship and then glide back down off of the airship back onto the Golden Road. Something, anything better than what we got here. This is just plain. This is... I wouldn't call it Mario Circuit 3 plain, because that was really bad. That was terrible. But this just feels like there's just no effort put into the design of it. I mean, sure, it looks kind of nice, but it doesn't look pretty. There's really no gimmicks or novelty to it, because we've already got a track that's been in the sky and everything, with airships and lightning bolts and, you know, vines and everything like that. So this is not treading new ground. This is just rehashing it and making it worse. There's just nothing interesting about this track to me. So, how does that make it rate on the rating scale here? Well, let's find out. Where are you, Sky Garden? There you are. I'm gonna say I would never pick this one. Although I would put it above Rainbow Road. I would put it above Rainbow Road because I would enjoy playing this over the other two. But I would never pick it, and I would never select it, and it's just not that interesting and fun to me to play. I know there's a couple people out there that love Sky Garden for what it is. Maybe they might have some nostalgia, rose-tinted glasses, because they had the GBA Mario Kart in the past, and they played it, and they loved it to death, and so they were super excited to see Sky Garden return. But I'm coming hot off of Super Nintendo 20 years ago, you know, decades ago. And I'm coming into this, and after playing the base game and then getting the booster pass and playing something like this, no. Okay? No. It's going at the bottom. It just is. And then finally, ooh, Ninja Hideaway. Man, oh, when I beat the time. Oh, I barely beat that time. Like a second, a little over a second time beat. Yeah, we're going to see how I did here. This is an original track. See, I messed up earlier, and I miscounted the originals from the base game. This is an original track from the booster cast, the booster pass, I should say. They made 6 originals, other than the tour and porting over the others. But the music in this particular track is just rocking. I love this music. It sets the feel and mood for the whole entire race. And by far of the wave run tracks, this one has the most detail and geometry and everything. And what the heck was I doing there? That was a terrible turn and recovery. Did you see that? I think the biggest strength this particular track has is the sheer amount of choice, the sheer amount of paths you can choose from, and I'll go over them on the second lap. But yeah, this S-turn into the start of the race again, that was so hard for me to get right the first time. I was just banging into walls all over the place until I learned how to better control myself. So we go into the dojo, and you have a choice of going up the stairs or going straight down the middle, which is what I'm doing here, which I'm doing awful at. So you can go above, high, or low, and there's a shortcut here you can take as well, which can maybe have you skip over 1 to 2 spots. I didn't quite make the top there, so you can go topside or you can go underneath, which is what I'm doing again. And then you can go down on the rooftops here, or you can go above top as well, which is what I'm doing here. So there's just so many layers to this particular course, which is just amazing. Like, compared to the first, 7 tracks of the first wave of the DLC, this was just, blow you out of the water. Like, where did this come from? Why was not the rest of the tracks like this in the first wave? This is amazing. Phenomenal, even. Wow, that was a terrible... How did I ever allow this to pass as a time trial? Still couldn't make it to the top one, where you get to see the clockwork and everything, the gears and stuff for the clock of that tower. That's kind of neat. So visually, this is neat, unique. I like it. It's almost like a small little villa, little small village that you're going in, or just a big compound where a single rich person lives. Who knows? But yeah, overall, very much a fun track. I absolutely love it, and the music is just ballin', you know? It's just rocking out the house. So let me turn off the replay because it's still going. So Ninja Hideaway, no contest. It is in the best for me. Honestly, I think I find it funner than DK Jungle. I am sorry, it's still not as good as Hyrule Circuit. There has not been anything yet that we've ranked that has dethroned it, but I think it is funner than DK Jungle and Alpine Way and Melody Park. And the music just seals the deal, honestly. So for me, this is looks, layout, gimmicks, novelty. It's all there, and the fun is what seals the deal for me. It's gosh darn fun, and it has yet to dethrone Link and Hyrule, but it got pretty darn close, y'all. So there is my picks for the next 2 Grand Prix of both the base game and the booster pass. I'm sure there were a couple hot takes in here for some of you, but these are my opinions, and this is me without rose-tinted nostalgia glasses, skipping over decades of Mario Kart history, but this is how I find the tracks and how I find them fun or not fun. So we'll be moving on to the next 2 Grand Prix in the following video. So until then, everybody, see y'all later, and stay retro.